I was 23 when I took the job with the Forestry Service. They stationed me in a remote watchtower deep in the Bitterroot Mountains, Montana side. The last guy quit suddenly. No explanation. They needed someone fast. I had no ties. I said yes. The tower was old, built in the 1950s, with walls, metal roof, a narrow spiral staircase up the middle. It sat on a ridge surrounded by black pine and tamarack. No roads in. You had to hike 7 miles from the ranger station. They dropped me off in late June. I brought 2 months of food, a weather radio, a cot, notebooks, and a rifle. No cell service. No internet. Just a radio to call the station if I needed help. But no one checked in regularly. You were expected to be self-reliant. That first week was beautiful. The air smelled like sap and soil. Birds chirped constantly. I saw deer, foxes, and even a black bear down by the creek. I kept logs, took fire watch notes, and read old ranger journals. By day 10, the quiet started to feel heavy. At night, the woods changed. The trees creaked more than they should have. The air turned cold even in July. I'd wake up certain someone was walking below the tower. At first, I thought it was animals. The scratching, the crunch of needles. Normal stuff. But then I heard a voice. It was around 2 a.m. I had just laid down. Outside, clear sky. No wind. Then, from beneath the tower, a woman said, "Hello." I froze. The voice was clear. Not yelling. Just calling out, like she was lost. I grabbed a rifle and looked out. Nothing. Just trees and moonlight. I called back. "Who's there?" No reply. I flicked on the spotlight. Scanned the woods. No movement. I left it on for an hour. In the morning, I climbed down and checked the area. No tracks. No broken branches. No sign anyone had been there. I wrote it off. Maybe I'd imagined it. But it happened again. 3 nights later. Same voice. Same tone. Like she was standing right under me. "Hello." I didn't answer this time. I just listened. The voice didn't repeat. No footsteps. No other sounds. Then the smell came. A sour, wet stink. Like rotting leaves and something dead. It lingered for hours. Day 17, I radioed the station. Told them I thought hikers were messing with me. They said no one should be out there. No trails nearby. But they'd send someone up in 2 days to check. That night, I found something on the stairs. A strip of cloth. Torn. Dark red. Looked like flannel. It wasn't mine. I hadn't left the tower in 2 days. I nailed the trapdoor shut. The next night, she came back. This time, she said more, "Let me in. I'm cold." Still the same tone. Flat. Calm. Too calm. I stayed silent. Gripped the rifle so tight my hands ached. Didn't sleep at all. When I stepped outside the next morning, I found boot prints circling the tower. One set. Small. Deep heel marks. Whoever it was had walked around me for hours. I started hearing whispers in the woods during the day. Always out of sight. Always behind a tree. Low. Too low to make out words. I climbed higher. Spent all day in the tower. Didn't eat much. Didn't log anything. The next time she came, it was raining. Hard. Wind whipping through the trees. The smell came first. Then the voice. "I can see you." No longer calm. Now it was playful. Mocking. Like she was enjoying this. I screamed back. "Get the hell away from me." Silence. Then laughter. Low. Wrong. It sounded like it was coming from inside the walls. I slept with a rifle in my arms. Next morning, I found scratch marks on the door. For deep gouges. Not claws. Fingers. The ranger never came. I radioed again. No response. Just static. Food ran low. The water drum outside started smelling weird. Like iron. Day 27, I tried to hike out. Packed everything. Made it a mile. Then found my own tracks in the mud. Circling back toward the tower. I hadn't turned around. I dropped the pack and ran. Branches tore at me. Something followed. Fast. Snapping twigs. breathing just behind me. I made it back, bolted the door, didn't stop shaking for hours. I think I lost time after that, slept in short bursts, heard things crawling under the floorboards, saw a shape standing in the trees every sunset, always the same spot, never moved. Then one morning I woke up and the tower was silent. No birds, no wind, no voice. The smell was gone. I stepped outside. The boot prints were gone. No scratches, just pine needles and silence. 3 hours later, the ranger finally showed up, said they'd lost contact, said my voice on the radio had been distorted. He looked at me and asked, "Who's the woman you were talking to all this time?" I didn't answer. There's more, much more, but this is the start. I didn't answer him, just stood there, soaked in sweat, eyes burning from days of no sleep. He kept staring, waiting. Then he said, "You said her name on the radio 4 times. Same name every time." I shook my head. I never said any name. He nodded slowly, then pulled a notebook from his jacket, flipped to a page, held it out, written in his hand. June 27th, 2:14 a.m., radio crackle, male voice says, "She's back. Mary is under the tower." I felt sick. I never said that name. I don't even know anyone named Mary. They escorted me down the mountain. I didn't speak the whole hike. The ranger kept glancing at me, like I might bolt. Back at the station, they sat me in a room, asked if I'd taken any substances, if I'd found old food, if I had a history of mental illness. I told them everything. The voice, the footprints, the laughter, the red cloth. They exchanged looks. Didn't say much. Just said, "You're not the first." Turns out, 3 others left early from that tower. One disappeared completely. The one before me left a note. "Don't follow her voice." I asked if they knew who Mary was. One ranger, older guy, leaned in and said, "There was a Mary Holden, 1973, local girl, went missing during a backpacking trip near the ridge. They found her boot halfway up the trail. That's all." I went pale. "Boot?" I said, "Just one." He nodded. I asked to see it. They brought out a storage box. Inside, faded and cracked, was an old red flannel shirt, torn at the collar. Next to it, a small hiking boot, deep heel wear, exactly like the boot prints outside the tower. I asked how far they found the boot from the tower. He said, about 20 feet. That night, I booked a motel and locked every bolt on the door. But I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about her voice. The calmness, like she wasn't lost, like she knew exactly where she was. At 3 a.m., the phone in the motel rang. No one should have known my number. I picked it up. Static, then a whisper. "Let me in. I'm cold." I threw the phone across the room. I left town the next morning. But it didn't end. For weeks after, I heard footsteps outside my apartment at night. Found pine needles in my hallway. One morning, the shower steamed up on its own. On the mirror, a message. "Hello." I moved again. Didn't matter. Every few months, I hear her, never loud, just outside the edge of hearing. Sometimes I see her, reflection in store windows, standing too far in the woods when I drive past tree lines. Always the same face. Dark hair, bare feet, staring, waiting. I don't go near forests anymore. Won't hike, won't camp, can't, because she knows where I am. And she doesn't get tired. I tried therapy. Twice. Both therapists said the same thing. Unresolved trauma, hallucinations, sleep deprivation. I stopped going when one of them asked, "What do you think she wants?" I didn't answer, because I already knew. She wants me back in the woods. 3 months after leaving the tower, I got a letter. No return address. Inside was a single photo. Black and white. Grainy. It was the tower, taken from below. At night, light in the window, and something standing at the base. Looking up, I burned the photo. Moved again. This time across the country. New name. New job. Nothing near the wilderness. But she still finds me. She started visiting my dreams. They're not like dreams. They're perfect recreations of the tower. The smell of wood rot, the creaking steps, the air that feels too still. In the dream, I wake up in the tower. Always the same dream. It's dark. I walk to the window. She's standing below. She never moves, just watches. Sometimes I speak. Sometimes I cry. But every time I turn away from the window, she's already inside. I wake up sweating, heart racing. And every time I find something in the room. First it was dirt, pine needles, a strip of bark on the floor. Then came the claw marks. 4, just like before, on the closet door, on the kitchen table, once across my car hood. Police said it was a raccoon. Raccoons don't leave footprints in the shape of bare feet. 6 months after the tower, I went to find the ranger who warned me, the older guy. His name was Devlin. When I got to the station, he was gone. I asked around. No one had seen him in weeks. They said he retired. Didn't leave a forwarding address. I didn't believe that. I found his name in a public directory. Tracked down an address in Idaho. I drove 7 hours. The house was empty. Front door hanging open. No furniture. Just dust and old footprints. On the kitchen table was a notebook. I opened it. Every page was filled with the same sentence. She is under the tower. I stood there for an hour, reading. The wind kept pushing the door open wider. I drove back that night, headlights off half the way, too scared she might be in the rearview mirror. I don't know what she is. Not a ghost. Not exactly. She's something older, something that waits. And she waits under. She wants you to come down, to look, to listen. I've researched everything. Local legends, native lore, missing persons in that forest. There's a pattern. Every few years, someone disappears near the ridge. Some are found, broken and dead. Some never are. The ones that come back, they all go quiet. They all vanish again within a year. I'm the only one still alive. For now. Last week, I found another letter. Just like before. No stamp. No return address. Inside was a single line. You left the door open. There was no signature. But I recognized the handwriting. It was mine. I stared at the letter for hours. I hadn't written it. But it was my handwriting. Exact loops, exact slant. I even checked old notebooks. Matched it stroke for stroke. I started to think I was losing time again. That night, I set up a camera in my apartment. One in the hallway. One facing the front door. Motion activated. Audio, too. I didn't sleep. At 3:12 a.m., I heard the creak. One single, deliberate floorboard groan in the hallway. Then silence. I didn't move, didn't breathe, waited until daylight before I checked the footage. The hallway cam glitched at 3:11, came back at 3:14. 3 minutes of static. The front door camera never lost signal. Showed nothing. No one entered or left. But the note had moved. I'd left it on the table. In the footage, during the glitch, the paper shifts 2 inches toward the edge. On its own, I left the apartment that morning. Didn't pack. Stayed in a motel near the city center. Concrete. Bright lights. Crowded. Safe. But that night, I woke to find pine needles under the pillow. And the window open. 5th floor. No fire escape. I checked out immediately. I called the forestry office. Didn't tell them who I was. Just asked one question. Is the tower still in use? The voice on the other end said, no, we decommissioned it after the last incident. I asked, what incident? They hung up. A week later, I found an article. Local paper. Online archive. Forest fire lookout destroyed in unexplained blaze. No injuries reported. The date was 2 months after I left. It said the structure collapsed. Spontaneous ignition. No lightning. No witnesses. But the photo showed something strange. A shape in the smoke. Tall. Thin. Standing where the base of the tower once was. No one mentioned it in the article. I kept staring at the photo until I saw the eyes. 2 black smudges. 2 symmetrical. looking straight into the lens. I closed the browser, smashed the laptop. Didn't help, because that night I saw her again. Not in a dream. In the corner of my room. Real, solid, just standing there. Wet hair, bare feet, dress made of shadows. And those eyes. She didn't move, didn't speak, but my chest felt like it was caving in. I couldn't scream, couldn't breathe. Then she smiled and vanished. I left the city the next morning. Didn't tell anyone. I drove west, kept going. No plan, just miles between me and her. But it's never far enough. Last night, I stopped at a roadside inn. Middle of nowhere. Desert town. No trees for miles. I thought I'd be safe. Until I went to front desk this morning. The clerk handed me a note. "Someone dropped this for you," he said. The envelope was brown. Old. Inside was another piece of lined paper. Same handwriting. "It doesn't matter where you go. The woods are already inside you." I dropped the letter. My fingers went numb. The clerk must have noticed, because he asked if I was okay. I nodded, lied, left a note on the floor, and walked out. Didn't even take my bag. Just got in the car and drove. South this time. Desert roads. Flatlands. Open skies. No trees. But even out here, the air feels wrong. Like I've dragged something with me. The motel radio crackled last night. No stations out here. Just static. Then a voice broke through. Her voice. "Cold tonight. Come down here where it's warm." I unplugged the radio. Threw it in the dumpster. This morning, I found it back on the nightstand. Still plugged in. Still warm. I don't sleep anymore. I try. But every time I close my eyes, I hear the creak of old tower steps. Feel the pressure in the air shift. Last week, I bought a burner phone and called a number I hadn't dialed in years. A friend, Alan. We used to hike together in college. He was the one who got me into forestry. When I told him about the tower, he went quiet, then said, "You should have never gone up there." I asked if he knew something. He hesitated, then told me his brother had taken the post before me. I froze. "Your brother, what was his name?" "Cal," he said. "Cal Merton." I remember the file. Cal was the last guy in the tower, the one who quit suddenly. "He never really quit," Alan said. "He just walked off the mountain one day. Didn't speak for 2 weeks. Then burned every journal he kept out there. Wouldn't sleep indoors anymore. I felt cold. What happened to him?" Alan's voice cracked. "He went missing 2 years ago. Left a note on the wall of his camper." "What did it say?" Long pause. Then she followed me home. My mouth went dry. Alan asked me where I was. I didn't answer. Didn't want him involved. But I did ask one last thing. "Did Cal ever say her name?" Alan didn't speak for a long time. Then, just before the line went dead, he whispered, "Mary." Always Mary. I sat in the car until the sun came up. Didn't move. Didn't think. Just waited. In the silence, I heard it again. The soft scrape of footsteps outside. Slow. Deliberate. Then 3 knocks on the back window. I didn't look. Couldn't. I started the engine and drove. Didn't stop until the tank hit empty. I'm writing this from a library computer in a town with no name. Somewhere near the border. Too tired to run anymore. If you're reading this and you hear a voice in the woods, if it sounds calm, if it says your name, don't answer. Don't speak. Don't look. Because once you hear her, she knows you, and she doesn't need the woods anymore. She only needs you. I stayed off the grid for a while. No credit cards. No phone. Cash-only motels. Sleep during the day. Drive at night. I thought if I became no one, she couldn't follow. But it didn't matter. She's not tracking signals. She's not tracking steps. She's inside now. One night, in a desert town where the neon signs flicker, even when there's no power, I met a man who said he'd seen her too. He was old, leathery skin, gray eyes, voice like gravel. He sat across from me at a diner without asking. Laid a folded photo on the table. It was a tower, taken decades ago. You were up there? He asked. I nodded. He gave a slow, understanding smile. Then you've heard her. I didn't speak. He leaned in close. She called to me in 1968, a voice like wind through dead leaves. I was young then, thought I could save her. His hands trembled. What did you do? Went down the stairs, into the trees. Didn't stop walking until I found a clearing. He stopped talking, eyes unfocused, like he was back there. What did you see? He looked at me. Nothing. And that's the problem. No animals. No birds. No sound. Just her, standing in the center. No face. No feet. And still she smiled. I asked what he did next. He said, ran, lost the trail. Spent 4 days moving in circles. Thought I was free. But I wasn't. Never was. He showed me his arm. Long scars. For deep lines across the bicep. She marked me, he whispered, like a dog marks territory. I felt sick. He passed me a piece of paper. An address. Go here. Burn everything you find. Then disappear. That's your only chance. I never saw him again. He walked out into the night and never came back. The address led to a storage unit 3 towns over. Unit 44B. I broke the lock. Inside was a metal filing cabinet, a backpack, and a stack of yellowing journals. The cabinet held photos, all from different decades, different people, but each one showed the same place, the tower, or what came after. In one photo, a woman stood just beyond the trees. Her hair was matted, her eyes gone, mouth open too wide. Same smile. I burned every photo, tore every journal page, watched the flames until the last corner curled black. But as I left, I noticed something. My reflection in the car window. It didn't move when I did. It stayed still, smiling. I smashed the window with a rock, left the car, walked 10 miles to the nearest road. I don't drive anymore. I don't trust mirrors. I don't sleep near trees. But every now and then, I feel it. That pressure, like the world tilts slightly, like the air goes still, and I know she's close. Not watching, just waiting, because she knows. Eventually, I'll stop running. Eventually, I'll open a door without thinking, and she'll be there, smiling. One morning, I woke in a cheap motel room to the sound of scratching on the walls. Soft, rhythmic, like fingernails dragging slowly across plaster. I sat up, heart pounding. No one else was there. I grabbed my coat and stepped outside. The air was still. No wind. Across the street, an old maple tree shivered despite the calm. I looked up. Something hung from a low branch. A small bundle of torn cloth tied with twine. I crossed over, unwrapped it carefully. Inside was a folded piece of paper and a thin, broken twig. The paper was yellowed, edges frayed. In shaky handwriting, it said, "You can't hide. The woods are everywhere. They grow in your mind, and soon they'll grow in your home." The twig snapped in my hand. I felt the cold settle deep in my bones. I left the town that day. No destination. I'm writing this from a rest stop on a highway miles from anything green. My hands shake. The scratches are back, this time on the motel room door. I don't know how much longer I can keep running. If you ever find yourself alone in the woods, if you hear a voice calling, calm and steady, don't answer. Don't turn around. And whatever you do, don't let her inside. Because once she's in, you're never alone again. If this story sent a chill down your spine, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more terrifying true tales every week. We explore the darkest corners of real-life horror, from haunted woods to urban legends that are anything but fiction. Thanks for watching, and remember, never follow the voice in the woods. It might not be calling you back. It might be calling you in.